Today I'm going to tell you about the Iron Neck. And the Iron Neck is a device that for me has been life-changing. I practiced as a dentist, and I had for years really, I'd had neck pain, neck and back pain. Lower back pain about 2 or 3 times a year. I'd pull my back or strain my back doing something. I'd be hobbling around. But for the most part, when I work, I look down into my left a good bit, and I'm right-handed, so I look back at computer screens over my left shoulder as well. And also, I like to do water sports with my family, so a lot of times I'm driving the boat and looking back, and all those motions were painful for a long time. I know before I started using the Iron Neck, for about a year, I had basically upper trap pain, and I was looked at by different doctors. I was given some physical therapy exercises, which stretches are helpful, but I think stretching combining with strength, well, I know it's more helpful because it healed me. So, and not an exaggeration, after one day or the first use of the Iron Neck a couple of years ago, my pain went away. It really, and that's the very frank truth. And I've encouraged others to use the Iron Neck, and I'm making this video so that in the future, if I suggest it to you, I'll send you this link so I can tell you about my experience. But yeah, it's a simple device. I'm going to show you my current routine, and it just strengthens all the muscles around the neck. So all the flat muscles, your sternocleidomastoids, all the muscles down the back of the head, the skull that attach to the back, all those muscles. But what I've also found is it strengthens a lot of the core muscles, like the supporting muscles of the body. So my lower back pain, all my back pain went away, and my mobility has been increased, and the pain has disappeared. Now, if I get a little tweak in my neck, I'll go home and do the Iron Neck that night. And usually that night or the next morning, I'm without pain. And so for going from daily pain to no pain, I used to look over my shoulder. I'd have to rotate my shoulders with my head. But now I've gone to where, standing, I can basically look and I can see this railing, and that, all the way over my shoulder out of the corner of my eye. So it's been dramatic for me. I know another dentist, Rich Salvatore, up in, I think, Pennsylvania, recommended it to him, and same thing. One day his pain was better. It's just mind blowing. And then Dr. Rose, that worked with me, she's just getting started, but she's been having a similar experience. So I just don't think there's any greater way to stretch and strengthen the neck in the way that this device does. So this is the one I have. I have the Iron Neck Pro. The only difference between the Pro and the standard is this little knob right here. And it's a newer model now, but this one basically creates some resistance. So when you're rotating around, it makes some resistance here. But I've got the standard weight band. I tried the stronger band, but really I've just prefer to stick with the 25-pound band. So, and there's different ways to anchor it. I typically just use the door anchor, and there's a strap here on the top to adjust to your head size, and then a chin strap, and then this little pad in the pack pumps up like those old Reebok shoes, and then you have a release valve right here. So I'm gonna show you how I set it up, and then show you my routine, and then and that'll be it. All right, so let's see. Well, first I'll show you how I put it on. So I hit the relief valve, then I put it on my forehead first and come down like this. Try not to pull my hair in the front. And then I've already got this adjusted. I mean, Iron Neck has plenty of videos on all this, but then I try to get it relatively level on my head. And it looks funny. It felt funny. My family and I had a good laugh the first time I put this on. And then, so the air part is bladders back here. So if you just pump here, it's basically going to become more stable in your head. And what you're looking for is through your exercises, you're going to be able to turn and rotate like this. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'll move the camera and we'll get it set up in the door, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, now I'm going to show you my current exercise program. I'll go over with you how I got started and then show you my current exercise program. So back on the forehead, like we said, get it kind of situated so it's not going to pull your hair. Buckle in. Sometimes I'll snug this a little bit, then pump it up. Now we're going to close this in the door, and I usually do it about the height of my head, so it's pretty level. And here, want to go inside? Normally, I do this inside the same door, but well, it's kind of fun outside, but really just better lighting out here for a video. So actually, that should be good. All right, so typically what I'll do is I'll just back up like this, and I'll just stand here. And so this would be an isometric exercise. I can feel, and one thing you do is when you set up, you always make sure your clips are in good shape. So here and the one there, make sure they're not halfway buckled, because if this thing were to release, you know, it'd pop you in the face, which I've never experienced. But, you know, as you're first getting started, you may just back up a little bit. I've gotten to where I can pretty much back up until the band gets to its maximum, but I'm not there right now. So I'm just standing, I'm slightly leaning back, but I feel it starting to stretch and strengthen these muscles, mostly in the back of my neck, but also, if you can imagine, the whole way up my trunk. So now I'm going to turn toward the camera. Now I'm standing more on my left leg, and I can feel the tension or the tightness of the muscles the whole way up my right side and the right side of my neck. So all the way up from here to here. So I'm going to do this more brief. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll have my phone, watching a movie or whatever, or watching the TV, using my phone because I can spin around. But so I'll just stand here and I'll let this work, maybe a minute, sometimes more. Now I'm going to turn away from the anchor point. Now here, this takes a little more stability because it's wanting to pull your neck back, but I just keep, and you might back up a little bit just so it's not putting a ton of stress. But here, it's more your anterior muscles and your anterior core, like your abdominal muscles here. So I'll stand here. Again, I'm going to abbreviate this. I may not stand here the full time. I may just make another video of me doing the complete exercise, you know, with full times. So here, same thing. Now I'm standing more on my right leg, and I'm feeling it down my whole left side. And you know, it's really, I've found a neck exercise, but really just also a core exercise. Okay. And so now, you know, we're back facing the door. So sometimes, again, I'll just stand here for a while, and that's a good workout in itself. Now, some of the basic exercises I started with, one is you face the anchor point, you look to your right, look to your, oh, actually, pardon me. The first thing you'd start with, and which is kind of like the north, south, east, west exercise I was just doing, is you just spin around. So what you're trying to do is keep your spine neutral, just like any other physical therapy exercise. Keeping the spine neutral and just walking around. And you'll typically do this about 10 times. You can do it more or less. That was the initial recommended from the Iron Neck program. So we're going to spin around. So that probably wasn't 10 times, but I just want to show you the exercises. So here we're going to turn back. Just for the length of the video here, I'll probably just do about 5. So again, keeping the spine neutral. Sometimes I'll hold my hands like this or just up like this. There you go. I'm just going to do one more. Okay, so that was the first base exercise that I learned. And honestly, sometimes makes me a little bit dizzy. So then you do this 10 times. So you, again, I'll just say like north, east, south, west. Sometimes I'll close my eyes, and that partially to just not make me dizzy, and then partially to just focus on the muscle groups that are being worked. Now when you turn, we'll say east, you just look toward the anchor point and away, toward, and then you want to be like, when I get right here, sometimes if it feels like it's going to pinch or give me any trouble, you know, I'll just step a little closer to the anchor point or just go a little, not quite as far, or release just a little pressure off my head. Oop, try not to fall on the carpet. All right, so here we go. Now sometimes with this one, instead of just doing my neck, I'll rotate my shoulders a little bit, and that allows me a little more freedom. And sometimes I'll look more back toward the anchor point. And I can feel that down the right side of my neck, all the way down to the top of my right pelvis or hip. So here I'm gonna back like this. Again, you can stand closer and just do the neck, and that's totally okay. So we're just doing the neck here. And then here we're gonna face this direction toward the anchor point and away. And again, you just do the reps you're comfortable with. A lot of times when I'm doing new exercises, I just do less of it and spread it over a few days so that I don't like to be very sore. Okay. All right. Now, this is an exercise similar to I learned in physical therapy, but I would do it with no resistance then. With here, you want to face the anchor point, like keeping your head level. You want to go toward the anchor and away. So toward is going to be more flexibility. Away is going to be strengthening. And I can feel this, again, mostly in my neck, but also my whole trunk has to support this. And that's why, over time I realized not just my neck wasn't hurting, my back wasn't hurting either. So some of my exercises, I'll kind of slack on, but this device, a minimum of twice a week. It's so easy and quick. I can do it, in the bathroom, really anywhere there's a door, and you can do other things, think about other things while you're doing it. So here, I'm coming straight back and I'm pushing my chin straight back, straight forward, straight back, straight forward. And you want to do that, let's say 10 times, but that's really up to you. I don't do multiple reps of this. I pretty much just run through the exercises. I guess you could count it as reps because I'm working the muscle groups multiple times, but I found that just going through the exercises is one good time. Now, it's something that I kind of been working on my own over time. This is like the extra things I've been doing. One is I'll do the kind of the north, south, east, west. I don't really do it this way that much, but I'll face, say, east, and I'll do like this. So I'm planting my feet, putting my hands up, and this is not so much, it is strengthening the neck, but there's not a lot of neck rotation. I'm more rotating my whole trunk. It's almost, I think about like the golf swing movement, but my feet are planted and my shoulders are coming around. Like really any athletic move. And then I'll do that facing away. This one I really like because I'll come down on my right foot and I'll look back. I'll go to my left foot and I'll look back. So I've got my feet planted, but my toes are kind of spread open about, let's say, 30 degrees. So I'll do like this. And I feel like this has really increased my overall mobility, like my ability to lift and turn or twist while I'm looking at something. And these have really increased the amount of times that I've tweaked my back. Really, I don't think I've really truly tweaked my back since I made this part of my normal routine, which has been about 2 years, which for a long time, I remember having a severe back pain at times. So here, again, I'm just doing some kind of more full body turns. Really with the full body turns, more so, I do it with the anchor point behind me because I feel like that's gives me the most. And then sometimes when I'm done, if I still have some time and I feel like doing it, I'll just go back to the isometric. So just standing here. I feel like this does a lot. Just if 2-3 times a week you're working these muscles, then you're gonna get some improvement. So here I step back in, unclip this, I reach up, hit the relief button, slide it off. And then a lot of times I'll switch over to some resistance bands that I like to use. So I'm gonna open the door, this drops out. I just keep this in a little box by our TV. So that's it. After doing the iron neck a few times, what I feel like right now, I just feel better. My muscles have been worked, they've been stretched and strengthened, and it just makes me feel confident I can do about my daily life without worrying about tweaking my neck or straining it. And if I do, I feel like, or I know I've got a solution I can go back to. So I hope this was helpful. And I encourage you, if you have neck pain or you feel like you have strength issues in your neck, I would certainly recommend the iron neck. I say that very genuinely. I've said it to so many people. but it is probably has been the most impactful type of exercise in my life. I'm 43. I've done a fair amount of exercise over my life, but the Iron Neck specifically, I would say, has changed my life for the better, made a daily improvement in my functionality and my pain level. And I believe it's going to help me do day-to-day things, active things. But most specifically for me, it's going to allow me to practice dentistry for more years, and it helps me to be healthier and happier every day. So try it out if you have neck pain, and thanks for your time. Take care.